What's up, besties? You're listening to Coffee Chats with Emmy, where the vibes are cute, the convos are deep, and the coffee is always iced. I'm Emmy, and I've got something to say, so let's get into it. Welcome to the first episode of Coffee Chats with Emmy. I am your host, Emily. This is not coffee in my cup, but that's fine. It's an Alani. It's giving me energy. We're going to get through this episode together. I have a special guest. I don't know if you can see her, but she's here eating an orange ice pop. What's your name, girl? What's your name? This is Luna. She's my special guest. What are you eating? If you've been following me for a while, then you know that obviously I have a 2-year-old daughter. This is the reality of trying. This is the reality of trying to film with a toddler. She wants it to be loud. Here's some fun facts about me. I'm 27 years old. I was born and raised in New York. We live in the Bronx. I am a mom. I'm also a teacher. I've been a teacher for 6 years. I only been teaching in a charter school. A lot of you guys have been following me when I started talking about teaching in a charter school, when I started posting my teacher content last year. And then I just decided, why not film a podcast? Everybody was asking me to start a podcast, to talk about certain topics. And so I was like, you know what, why not do it and talk about, relationship stuff, parenthood stuff, motherhood stuff, teaching stuff, social media stuff. There's just a lot of topics that I have in mind and a lot of guests that I also have in mind that I want to have on here. If you see Luna running in and out of here, it's because she thinks she's playing a game of limbo with all the lights that we have going on. So just ignore her. But this is just the reality. This is probably not even going to be edited out. It's the it's the reality. It's the reality of being a parent and trying to be a full-time content creator. There's no break. There's no break. There's no downtime. What you see with me is what you always get. I don't ever put on a show for social media. I don't act a certain way for social media. Literally, what you see with me. I'm so distracted. What you see is what you get with me, and so I can't hide it. This is literally my life. My toddler is gonna be running around everywhere. She's not gonna want to listen. You're gonna hear her in the background. It is what it is. Let me give a little background on my social media journey. This is not gonna be a full episode about social media. I'm gonna have an episode like that in the future. But I basically started social media back in 2024 full time. I say full time because I'm not living off of it. Yeah, I'm making a few $100s, but it's not like my full-time career. I started content creating or having interest in 2022. And then, you get discouraged. You hear family talking, you hear friends talking, you hear people making fun of you, and then you just stop. It wasn't until basically after I had Luna where I wanted to share my life as a mom and a newborn mom and things like that. Oh, hello. And then I just started gaining confidence. And then I noticed that when I started posting my teaching content when I was teaching 3rd grade, that is where I started to blow up. And I've only been doing it for a year, maybe a little less than a year. Maybe I'm about to hit a year, but I've grown so much within that year. I never thought I would be able to do that. Like I was saying in the beginning, we're going to be talking about so many different topics in this podcast: relationship, parenthood, motherhood, fatherhood, friendships, social media, anything that you can think of. I want to talk about. I want to drop on Sundays, every Sunday. I want to say in the morning for now, so about 9 o'clock in the morning we'll drop them, so stay tuned for that. I'm going to have a bunch of special guests. I'm going to have my boyfriend. I'm going to have my best friend. Those are all the special guests I can think of. I have a bunch of social media friends too that I want to have on the podcast and talk about different things, because I would love to get their perspective on content creation, on motherhood, on things like that. I think that would really be helpful for a lot of young moms out there. I really want this podcast to be for the girls. Obviously, men are going to be on here. My boyfriend's going to be on here. But I really feel like my audience is young women and teachers and mothers and just young women just living their life. And I feel like we all relate to each other on some different level, whether it's financially, whether it's our goals, whether it's things that we like to do. And I feel like this is the start of that, like, sisterhood kind of thing, if you understand what I'm trying to say. Obviously, you see here, I have a cute drink. Every single person is going to have a cute cup like this because, hello, and with their drink of choice. I would prefer coffee, but hey, it is what it is. Energy drinks, water, lemonade, juice, soda, whatever it is, they're gonna have a cute cup. I'm also gonna have my social media followers ask a bunch of questions depending on what the episode is about. They did ask me tons of questions that I am going to now answer, just so you guys can get to know me a little bit more and know what the vibe of the podcast is gonna be. So I had to pull the questions on the iPad because obviously we're filming on my phone. So I'm gonna read the questions and I'm gonna answer them as best as I can. The first two are literally the same. It's what made you want to be a teacher. So, fun fact about me. In college, I wanted to be many things. Many things. First, I wanted to be a marine biologist. Y'all, I don't like animals. So, can you imagine me trying to, like, take care of a whale or something? I didn't want to do that. The next thing I wanted to do is I wanted to be a forensic anthropologist. And I only wanted to be this because we had a forensic science class in high school that I was so into. It was like the coolest class ever. But I'm scared of the dark. Why would I want to work around dead bodies? That was another thing for me that was just like, yeah, no. And like, I just always wanted to teach. I feel like when I was younger, kids like would gravitate towards me. They want to play. They want to do all this stuff. And so I was like, you know what? Let me be a teacher. And so I just went with my gut. That was just like the first thing that was always in the back of my mind that I wanted to do. But then you hear people talk, oh, they don't make enough money. They don't do this. They don't do that, which is true. But I enjoy my job. I enjoy my career. The next question is, what is your favorite thing about being a teacher? I think my favorite thing is really just meeting the kids in September, and then while the year is going, you see the growth that they're making, not only academically but like personally as well. Or like you see how much they've grown, and how in the beginning of the year they couldn't do something and now at the end of the year they mastered it. Like, it's just such a growth within those 8-9 months that we're in school, and it's really like such a good thing to see. And again, you're only with that close knit of students for 9 months. That's not a long time. And it's still like you grow such a bond with them because you are the person that they see every single day. Somebody asked, what is my ideal summer vacation? When I graduated high school, my family went to Hawaii, and that was like the most relaxing, most beautiful, most amazing vacation I have ever been on. If I had the opportunity to go to Hawaii again, I would. That's the only place I would ever go to the beach. I don't like the beach. I don't. But over there, I was swimming in the ocean, and I hardly know how to swim. So Hawaii, 100%. It was like the best vacation and relaxation spot. How did I become an avid reader? I promise I'm gonna make a whole episode on just books and reading in general, because I can talk about this for hours. Like, I love talking about books. But I started reading again when I was home on maternity leave when I gave birth to Luna. And that was because I found myself like scrolling. When she was taking a nap and she was a newborn, like, I would find myself mindlessly scrolling on my phone day in and day out. And it was like every time she would nap, instead of watching TV, I was scrolling on my phone. And then I was just like, you know what? Like, I need to do something. I need like I was just like not feeling it anymore. I was like, no, I need to do something to make me feel like better. And so I started reading, and I can't remember. You know what? Let me tell you what the first book I picked up was. Hold on. That's because you know me. I got my app on here. May 31st, 2023 is when I started reading. And the first book I read was Somebody's Daughter by David Bell. And I think it was because I literally had those books in my linen closet forever. I had that book in my linen closet forever. I had like maybe 5-6 books in that closet collecting dust. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to read these books. They have to be good. They're just sitting here. And sure enough, it started getting me back into reading. And next thing you knew, I was ordering books off of Amazon. I was ordering books off of Target. And now I have a whole bookshelf in my house with like all of my favorite books on there. So let me not say all of my favorite books, because I have 16 unread books on that bookshelf. but I still need more. I still have a habit of going out and buying more books because I love to read. But that's going to be another episode. So we'll get there eventually. What hobbies do I have besides reading and being a mom? I do nails. I used to do nails. Let me put it that way. I used to do nails. That was one thing that I was taking clients for, and it was like really like an outlet for me to be artistic. And I'm not gonna lie, I gave up. I gave up. I didn't like having people in my house, especially when I moved out of my parents' house and I moved here. I didn't like having people that I didn't know come to my house and like do nails and it. So I just stopped. Sometimes I do my own. Other times I order press-ons off Amazon. Like these are press-ons from Amazon. But yeah, that's another hobby that I have. And again, content creation. That's a hobby, but also a job, kind of, right? But those are my two hobbies. Oh, this is a good one. And I can also like touch more on this when we do the social media episode. But what was my main motivation to start content creation? And I'm going to try to make this story quick, but we were out one day and there was a comment made about people who do social media, and it was like in a circle that we were in, and the comment was made. I didn't hear it, but my boyfriend heard it, and then he told me afterwards. And after that, I was just like, I'm gonna prove these people wrong because everybody in that room knew that I was starting content creation, and nobody said anything. Again, like I said, I didn't hear it, but he did. And once he told me, I was like, I'm gonna prove every single person wrong. This is something that I can do. You can make money off of this. And sure enough, look at me a year later. I have 16.3 thousand followers on TikTok, and I just hit 37,000 followers on Instagram today. Like in 1 year. So if you want to think and want to start content creation, don't let nobody stop you. That's all I'm going to say, because this is another topic that I can talk about forever, because I am so passionate about other people starting content, and I know the worry, and I know you're worried about what other people think. Stop worrying about what other people think. This question is actually from my boyfriend. He asked, what did you want to be when you were younger versus what are you now? And again, like I said before, I wanted to be a teacher, but I also wanted to be those fake marine biologists. I wanted to be a forensic scientist. Deep down, I've just always wanted to be a teacher. And that's what I am. I'm a teacher and a content creator. And hopefully, I will be a full-time content creator. So, do you ever see yourself moving out of New York? And the answer is yes. Where I would go, I don't know. Because one thing about me, I don't drive. I have a fear of driving. There was one time I was pregnant and we got into a car accident, and I just don't want to drive. Like, that is just my thing. I am passenger princess for life. I'm sorry, babe. He's in the kitchen listening to me. I don't want to drive, like, at all. I'm really scared of driving. Even though, like, I attempted to learn, I don't want to drive. So I don't know where I would move, because anywhere I would move, or anywhere we would move, I would have to learn how to drive. There's no other option for me. And I don't like that. Some of the questions that are on here are questions that I'm going to be talking about in later episodes. But this one says, what are friendships like for you from high school to being in my 20s? So I am not friends with anybody from high school. The only person that I would say that I'm friends with from high school is my boyfriend. Like I said, this is going to be another topic for another day. And friends in my 20s is hard. I have a solid handful of friends that I can really call my friends. Maybe we don't speak every day, but I have a good solid friend that I know that, God forbid, if I needed something, they would show up for me. I met my best friend 2 years ago now, almost 2 years ago. And that's another story, but so it's never too late to find solid friendships, especially as a woman. Everybody wants that girlhood. Everybody wants that solid friendship. And it is never too late to find it. Whether you are 15 and you're friends with the same people for the rest of your lives, or you're 27 like me, figuring out where you're going to find those real friendships, they're going to come. It's just, you just have to put yourself out there as well. This is going to be the end of this video for episode 1. Like I said, I just wanted you to get to know me, get the vibe of the podcast. I promise that the next few episodes are going to be so exciting, so much more in depth. But please like, please share, please follow the pod. I would appreciate it so, so much. Follow my Instagram and my TikTok. I'll link them here. And I love you guys. Thanks for being here. And thanks for joining me on this next adventure. I cannot wait to keep growing with you guys and seeing what more we can come up with. Bye.